Half of the Indiana high school football teams have been eliminated from tournament play. Only 4 teams remain in 2A Sectional 37, and 2 of them are right in front of us. Hello and welcome. I'm Nathaniel Finch. Next to me sits former high school football player Riley Woodall.
Yeah, and tonight we have a matchup between the 6-4 Western Boone Stars and the 2-8 North Putnam Cougars. The Stars defeated Speedway last week 25-3, and North Putnam beat Southmont 19-14.
Looking at the numbers as far as coaching goes for these two teams, starting for Western Boone, Justin Pelly, he's been here since 2013. 73-24 is his record since then. As far as North Putnam, they've got Ryan Burris as the coach. He is in his first year, and like we mentioned, that 2-8 record, his first year as the Cougars head coach. The recap here of last week's game, the Stars defeated Speedway 25-3. Oddly enough, was the same score of the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington football team. But 25-3 was the score there in a game where the Western Boone really dominated from the beginning. Looking at those numbers here from Western Boone.
Western Boone versus Speedway, 25-3, like Nathaniel said here. We both scored a touchdown every quarter, 6, 6, 7, and 6. Speedway got a field goal in the second quarter. Weebo had 3 completions for 43 yards and 2 touchdowns with the longest pass of 17 yards, 38 carries for 226 yards and 2 touchdowns. Their longest run of 35 yards, and they had a total of 269 total yards on the night. As far as North Putt versus Southmont, North Putt won over Southmont 19-14 last Friday. North Putt executed an onside kick on the first play of the game, recovered the ball, and scored 2 plays later on a Gunnar Burris 38-yard touchdown run on a QB draw. The Mounties ended up shutting down the Cougars until about the third quarter. However, the Mounties offense couldn't really score much until that point either. The Cougars ended up scoring again on a short field after the Mounties fumbled and made it 13-0. At the start of the fourth quarter, Mounties QB Nolan Boyer drove the Mounties down for their first score with a Wyatt Woodall touchdown run. The Cougars added to their lead after that, however, with another Burris run at the goal line to make it 19-8.
As far as the statistics so far this year for North Putnam, they're averaging around 86 passing yards per game, 88 is the rushing yard total, pretty balanced offense, even though they've got those low totals as far as scoring and yards go. But it's going to be a game where we're going to see pretty even balance here for North Putnam.
Of course, and I mean, we take a look at Western Boone here. I mean, on the year, 77 total completions on the year for 1,129 yards and 14 touchdown passes. And we also talk about Robbie Taylor in the run game here. I mean, 371 total carries for Robbie Taylor and their running backs with 1,939 yards combined. I mean, that's a crazy amount of rush yards there. And we also have 25 rushing touchdowns on the year for him. So that's going to be a key, I think, for tonight's game for sure.
And let's say there, as far as individual stats go for Western Boone, you mentioned Robbie Taylor. He's got 206 carries for just under 1,100 yards on the year, 5.3 yards per carry. He's averaging over 100 yards per game that he's played in. And you mentioned that touchdown total is pretty high as well for Taylor. He's got 11 touchdowns on the ground. As far as passing goes, Elliott Young here for Western Boone, 77 completions. He's got 1,129 passing yards, completion percentage north of 50%, but of course you'd like that to be higher, up towards the 60 and even 65 and higher percentage-wise. He's got 1,129 yards on the season passing-wise as Elliott Young, 14 touchdowns to just 7 interceptions. And this offense goes through Connor Garrity through the air. He's got 35 catches this year, 670 total yards. That's 20 yards per catch. Connor Garrity has 8 touchdowns this year as well.
We talk about another one of Weebo's star players here. I mean, Luke Marsh, another one of their running backs, 436 total rush yards with 58 carries. And, I mean, this guy's really showed up on the offensive side and the defensive side with, let's see here, about 91 solo tackles, 48 assists, and 139 total tackles with 2.5 sacks.
And the thing about Marsh is that he wasn't in this running back role that he is now throughout the whole year. He had to come in about halfway through the season because of an injury, even though minor, is an injury to the star running back there with Robbie Taylor. So Marsh since then has been integrating himself a pretty nice role in this offense. He plays almost every down on defense, and on offense he's got a pretty good role as well, being the running back and a wing back as well.
And, I mean, we also have on defense here number 3, Cannon Bruins, and number 5, Clayton Hyson. We got Clayton Hyson as a D lineman. I mean, 31 solos, 35 assists, and 13 tackles for loss. He's a handful up front for any offensive line that's trying to block him there. And Cannon Bruins with 48 solos and 50 assists for 98 tackles and 24 tackles for loss and 9.5 sacks. I think that's going to come in big tonight.
And he's the same way as Marsh on offense. Bruins on defense, he wasn't a starter on defense at the beginning of the year. He came in and was part of a rotation there at the linebacking core, but he's really showed his talent just as a freshman as Cannon Bruins, to where he's now had this full-time role as an outside linebacker. Getting to the quarterback and getting those tackles for loss is something he does so well.
And just a couple more honorable mentions here. Number 22, Casey Baird, 181 receiving yards. And back on defense, number 84, Austin Bowman with 30 solos and 52 total tackles. I think we can transition here to some North Putnam offensive and defensive players. Number 5, Gunnar Burris, their QB. I mean, he's really stepped up into that role this year, and he's really kind of carried his team in terms of, like, offense. He's actually rushed for 206 rushing yards with the scrambling, and he's also thrown for 522 passing yards.
See, and Burris has more carries than he does pass completions.
Yeah.
He's a guy that you got to watch out for. We mentioned this balanced attack. Really, him at the quarterback position, you have to worry about him running the ball just as much as him passing.
Of course. And then if we move on here, we got running back number 34, Robert Green. I mean, he's had 30 carries for 106 yards. He's averaging about 3.5 yards a carry and 21.2 yards per game. And number 11 here, Kevin Barger, with 14 carries for 103 yards. And average yards per game here is 20.6. And total receiving yards is 104.
So that'll do it for the stats. Let's take a break here for the national anthem.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming.
Hey, let's take a look now as we're back here from the national anthem at the keys to the game for both teams. Let's start with North Putnam.
Yeah, I mean, keys for the game for North Putt offensively. I mean, give the QB time to make plays, stay on the blocks for the backs to actually make the plays there. Backs and receivers make the linebackers and DBs miss in space up there on the edge. Pass the ball quickly and kick up pressure for the offensive lineman. Control the amount of time you hold the ball. I think North Putt's got to hold the ball longer than Webo's offense tonight for sure. Defensively, I think they need to shut Webo's run game down for sure, stop their running backs from making plays and breaking off big runs, get pressure on Webo's QB to force him to get it out quickly, and the DBs can play tighter on second and third and shorts for sure. As we take a look back here to keys to victory for Weibo, I think offensively they need to get the ground game going quickly, get the run game going. Online they can get bodies on the front four of North Putt's defensive line. I mean, they're tough to handle up there. Passing and in space, make the DBs commit and have to make plays on the edge and outside. And defensively for Weibo, I think they need to contain North Putt's QB. We've seen him scramble for much more, almost equally the amount of rush yards that he has pass yards. He's not afraid to step up and run and get some big plays there. And stop North Putt's run game with their big five up front and tackle their receivers and backs in space.
The weather here tonight, it's pretty chilly. There's not really any clouds in the sky, though. So right now it's 41 degrees, feels like 38. That will continue to drop over the next couple hours, of course. And the moon that we're looking at, we'll see if maybe we can zoom out enough on the camera to get the moon in picture. But a year ago on what would have been this weekend, so it would have been the day after Halloween, because Halloween was on Thursday, we had what looked to be this exact same moon. And now we're the day before Halloween, same weekend, and it looks the exact same. So that's pretty interesting. But it'll be pretty chilly out there, but we shouldn't have to worry about too much rain. These two teams, they've only played twice since they started playing football for the IHSAA. Each of the last 2 years are those two occurrences, both in sectionals. Western Boone won both of those games, 49-7. The score last year, 49-8. The year before, the Stars have had the number of this Cougars team, and unfortunately, the Cougars they won 8 games the last 2 years. This year, they've lost 8 games.
And I think that comes along with the same thing that Weibo and a bunch of other teams have had to work with this year. I mean, the past 3-4 years, we've seen some teams that have had some really big senior and junior classes and upperclassmen that have stepped up. And this year, many teams are having to deal with some freshmen and sophomores that are coming in as to be some younger parts of the team and dealing with some younger teams not necessarily having the depth that you would like to have in that position. So that forces some of the underclassmen to step up into those leadership positions and make plays.
Once again, Nathaniel Finch and Riley Woodall here with you for WBTV Sports. And Riley, you played this North Putnam team just a week ago.
Correct.
You're playing for Southmont. You play on defense, and you got to be pretty familiar with this team and how they operate.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, coming into that game, we were knowing that their QB especially, Gunner, loved to scramble out and make plays and run, and we tried to contain him as much as possible. But I mean, on top of that, the North Putt's offensive and defensive line has big size to them, and that's come in handy with them for sure, because they've used that definitely to their advantage to kind of make it easier for the people behind them to make plays.
So you've watched this team twice now this year. Southmont defeated North Putnam 21-14 week 2. That would have been the last weekend of August. And, of course, you lost at the buzzer just a week ago with that interception at the end of the game. And I'm glad to have you here on the staff here with us on air. Riley Woodall once again with Southmont, and we appreciate you being here today. The two teams are getting ready to get on the field. There's a minute left up on the clock as these teams are getting ready to take the field.
Sectionals round 2, baby.
Absolutely. 2A sectional 37. Looking at that as far as the bracket has gone so far, like we mentioned, North Putnam defeated Southmont a week ago. Western Boone traveled to Speedway, got a win there. Monrovia lost to Cascade, so Cascade will now play Seeger, who beat South Vermilion in what was a bit of an upset, but not too crazy. So Seeger and Cascade play today at Seeger. And then, of course, Western Boone and North Putnam here in front of us. 2A sectional 37. The captains heading out to the field for Western Boone. It's Hysong and Taylor. And then the two captains for North Putnam, as we see there, Clifford. Clifford is one, and then Barger is the other. 5 seconds to go on the clock as these teams are doing the ceremonial coin flip. I'm excited for this game. It's not that often that you get these occurrences of sectional football and making it past the first round. Both these teams trying to get to that sectional championship, which the Stars have won the last 3 weeks, or the last 3 years is that sectional championship. They have 12 straight winning seasons, and they have 13 straight tournament wins here in Indiana, with 13 straight is the longest active streak of tournament wins Western Boone currently holds. They're going to try to extend that.
Looks like Western Boone's going to receive the ball here. Looks like North Putt deferred here. Looks like Webo's going to get the ball to start this first half of play.
Like we mentioned, the quarterback matchup between Elliott Young of Western Boone and then Gunnar Burris for North Putnam. It'll be interesting to see who wins that matchup. Burris, the junior. Elliott Young, the junior as well.
And, I mean, both teams know this, especially the seniors on both sides. Like, it's win or go home, especially for the seniors that know that this might be their last few snaps in a high school football game. It's just a completely different feeling for sectionals compared to the regular season.
Back to return for Western Boone is Garrett Morton and Mitch Miller. For North Putnam, the kicker here for the Cougars is Sean Jarbu.
And we saw last week against Southmont, North Putt tried to executed that onside kick. It'll be interesting to see if North Putt tries the same against Webo at the start of this game.
All right, to start 2A sectional 37 play, here's the kick taken in by Morton. And Garrett Morton with some blockers ahead of him has a little bit of space, but then he stopped and is slammed to the ground. What a tackle by Cam Hankins.
Woo.
And that's not a bad way to start the game if you're North Putnam.
For
Western Boone,
sure.
of course, you like the field position, but that gets a little bit of the juice flowing here for North Putnam. We'll see if they can continue that on defense here for this first drive.
Definitely sets the tone for sure.
Stars set out on offense. The starters, Elliott Young at quarterback, running backs Robbie Taylor, and we'll get to the rest here after this play with the two wide receivers set to the far side. Young will take the snap and throw it. A quick pass over to Garrity, who's stopped behind the line of scrimmage by a couple yards, and that was a nice tackle there. Read the play design all the way through. So Garrity, we mentioned the 6'4" senior starting at wide receiver. Garrett Morton starting with him as well. And as far as the wing and the slot position go, Mitch Miller and Luke Marsh will occupy those two places right now. We've got an extra blocker in with High Song on the offensive line. The handoff goes to Taylor. Taylor drops his shoulder and gains back what was lost on the first play. +3, we'll have 3rd and 7. The offensive line here for Western Boone, a bit of a change-up from what they've seen in the past few weeks. Number 65, Will Barta at left tackle. Andrew Kopic with his normal spot at left guard. Dane Williamson at center. Andrew Foster at right guard. And then Zane Sturgis at right tackle. That left tackle position is what has changed with Will Barta manning that position. Right now, another extra blocker is High Song. Looking to throw. They need the first down. Marsh is open. Marsh gets the catch in traffic and is slammed to the ground.
Great catch.
A nice tackle by Gunnar Burris, who does it all for this team, offense and defense. But a nice play design there for Western Boone. You found the cushion in that zone defense, and Marsh was able to make the catch. Don't see that too often from him.
Yeah, and it looked like Marsh did a little in cut and then just ran a simple little streak route there.
Now from the pistol will be Western Boone and Elliott Young, the two wide receivers set up to the far side. And the whistle's blown. We can start playing this down. Looking to throw again. No, it will be a quarterback keeper. Look to be a design run, and the draw doesn't get more than 3 yards. He's finally taken down as Young with a gain of 1. We'll see 2nd down and 9 from the 36-yard line. A couple minutes dropped off the clock so far.
It was Robert Green from the linebacker position. It was a good job to stay at home and see that QB draw setting up.
From the pistol formation, the handoff goes to Taylor off the left side of the line. Still pushing forward. He gets the first down on a nice 2nd down run. And Robbie Taylor, he'll do that to you all day. It takes multiple guys to bring down a guy that big. The next play, the 2 wide receivers split to the one side from the pistol. Here's Young looking to throw to the screen and just overthrows the wide receiver. On the screen was Luke Marsh. Now 2nd and 10, nearing the red zone. This has to be a pretty fun time to call plays.
Oh yeah. And I mean, I would think you've gotten about 5-6 yard gains both times you've gone to Robbie Taylor. So I would think of this 2nd and 10 position, maybe run at the ball up the middle here, get about 5, and then make it a 3rd and manageable.
Well, sure enough, we've got a heavy set formation coming. 1 wide receiver split out to the far side and some movement up front. The flag's thrown.
Looks like it's going to be a false start on North Putt. Encroachment by North Putt.
Awaiting the call from the referees, but indeed I think I agree with you. It looked to be against the Cougars.
Oh, it's a false start on the Stars.
Well, there you go. You said false start and you said North Putt. You knew at least one of those would be right.
For sure.
Turned out to be that Western Boone penalty. That drops him back 5 yards, 2nd and 15 from the 31-yard line. And, of course, we'll repeat 2nd down.
And those line judges are right there on the sidelines, right on that line to see any type of movement. Another heavy set here.
Garrity, the lone wide receiver. The snap will go for Taylor, the running back.
Still pushing forward here.
He gets a couple yards, not quite what he's accustomed to on the ground, but he gets better as the game goes on. Now we'll have 3rd down and 11 from the 27-yard line. And one thing for the Stars, just let that clock keep rolling. You control the time of possession. With this running game, you can control the game.
Exactly. We talk about sectional gameplay, and all you have to do is win. You don't have to blow a team out. Triple option here.
Yeah, nice play design, but doesn't get more than maybe back to the line of scrimmage is Mitch Miller on the toss.
It was Cam Hankins on the play. It's a good way to come down and fill that hole and tackle that pitch man in space.
And he was the defender that had that big hit on the kickoff return at the beginning. He's had a pretty nice start to his game. We'll see what looks to be the offense staying out on the field. 4th down and 10 from the 36-yard line. Excuse me, the 26-yard line.
Yeah, and I mean, you're too close to punt here, and you're pretty much giving them a punt if you don't go for it and get it.
Stack formation, 3 wide receivers set at the far side of your screen, looking to throw with time. Has to evade the pockets. Young throws this one to the end zone. It's caught for a touchdown. Mitch Miller wide open in the back of the end zone, and the Stars score first on 4th and 10.
And that was a good play call by the Stars. I mean, it's 4th and 10. You're on your own 20. You might as well take a shot down deep for the end zone. And in that situation, it paid off for them.
Yeah, the off-script touchdown went pretty well. The protection is really what set that up. Is it allowed plenty of time for the quarterback Young to get out of the pocket and look for that open receiver. Here's Josiah Smith with the PAT. That one misses wide left. So 6-0 remains the score.
And you talked about the protection up front for the time the QB had to throw that ball, and I think what's helped with that is the heavy sets that they've come out and getting those extra blockers on those big that front 4 of North Putt.
In a lot of the games where the Stars have struggled, especially on offense, it's been a lot of times because of all the pressure that quarterback Young has faced. So when they can get some protection there and really let him to be calm and cool in the pocket and flush out when he needs to, they can be pretty successful. It's when that pressure starts to come is when the junior quarterback starts to struggle. A nice touchdown throw there to Mitch Miller. He doesn't get a whole lot of looks in the offense, but there he made do with what he was able to get and scored that nice touchdown. Looking at his exact numbers, just his 2nd touchdown on the year, his 8th reception here now through 11 games. And we'll see Josiah Smith out to kick on this kickoff.
It'll be interesting to see the game plan of North Putt's offense going out against the powerhouse of Webo's defense.
bit of an odd formation on the kickoff return. 3 guys back, all at different levels of back there towards the end zone. And you've got the rest of the guys lined up between the 45 and the 50-yard line.
Squib kick right in the middle.
Pretty high, going to be received at the far end and tackled by Mitch Miller, who had that touchdown on the last play. That was a pretty nice design there. We see the Stars try to go for that more, pretty basically what we just saw is what they've been trying to do all season, kicking it near the out-of-bounds mark around that 20-yard line. They've kicked it out of bounds quite a bit so far this year, but that time it worked perfectly, and the Stars were able to make the tackle.
And in that case, it works perfectly just because of how North Putt's kickoff return team came out, that little soft spot in between the front line and the deep backs.
Coming out with a lot of wide receivers set out, 4 of them, 3 to the near side, 1 to the far, looking to throw. The quarterback, Gunnar Burris, makes the reception. It is Clifford to the far side, and he gets a nice gain of about 7. A nice way to start this game on offense for North Putt. Speaking of that offense, looking at the starters, number 5, the quarterback, Gunnar Burris. He's going to be handing it off today to Robert Green, number 34, the senior running back. Out at wide receiver, we've got Cody Perkins, Colton Clifford, Kevin Barger, and Braden Beavers. And then the offensive line, we'll hear about them coming up here after this play. The same look on offense. The snap looking to throw, second time in a row, goes to Clifford, and it's over his head. 3rd down and short upcoming. And this offensive line for North Putnam and the Cougars from left to right, Mason Ray, Trevor Rosebloom, the center, Seth Furman, and then you've got right guard and right tackle combination of Justin Hagan and Covey Jeter.
Looked like on that play, either he threw it too high or it got tipped by one of Webo's defensive linemen there.
You mentioned the size on this offensive line. The tackles 6'4" and 6'3". The center 6 foot, left guard 6 foot, and then the right guard is the shortest man at 5'11". They've got a lot of size along this offensive line. Most of their guys 250 pounds or higher on that line.
Bunched in here in a base set.
Reaching forward is the running back Green. He does not get the first down. It'll be 4th down and short, maybe a yard. And now it's a curious call. Do you try to go for it, gain just a yard, which isn't always too hard to do, but if you fail, then you're in big trouble. Looks to be a line change, and the punting team's going to come out.
And it looked like there with Webo's defensive linemen, all of them slanting into the gaps, in the inner gaps, which let those linebackers come in right behind him, and one of the defensive linemen was able to get through and make that tackle in the backfield.
Look out for a fake here. Here's the snap. Sure enough, it will
almost
be a punt.
Blocked.
Exactly, almost blocked by Marsh. And instead, it'll be dropping around. Takes a really good Cougar balance to the 15.5-yard line.
Looks to be about the 20.5 right there.
You mentioned the aggressiveness that the Cougars have had on special teams over the last few weeks. I was kind of expecting a fake punt there. They had the odd 3 men lined up on the near side on the line of scrimmage, kind of set up as wide receivers, it appeared, but instead they kick it off and just barely get the punt off. Instead of being blocked, it goes really far over to the 15-yard line. 1st and 10 here for the Stars. They scored on their last drive via the long touchdown to Mitch Miller. 26-yarder. We'll see how this drive concludes.
Got a trips wing to the left side here. Strong side of the field.
The handoff will go to Taylor, who's got
There
plenty
goes
of running
Taylor.
room. He gets a first down with a gain of about 12 yards.
And I will tell you, getting hit like that in space, especially when it's colder outside, definitely hits a little bit harder when it gets to the sub-40s and 30s out here.
And especially once you get in the fourth quarter for the defense, you're going to think twice about trying to tackle that guy.
For sure.
Robbie Taylor listed as 5'8", 200 pounds. Of course, we're not always sure how accurate these weight listings are on the roster. Here's the play. Spread formation, but from under center looking to throw is Young. Has the guy on the slants, Garrity. Garrity's going to take it to the house.
Wow. What a play.
No need to wait. We know it's going to be a touchdown. Garrity on the slant finds the separation and takes it the rest of the way. Connor Garrity with another touchdown to add to his impressive total. That's his 9th on the year.
And it looked like that was number 81, Corbin Sprunger, on the coverage there. I mean, he was there with Garrity in stride. He just kind of lost him there when he got closer to catching the ball. And, of course, Garrity makes a cut, and he's gone.
It is really hard to stop a guy with a size and speed combination of Connor Garrity, not only on offense, but he's a wrecking ball on defense. Josiah Smith missed his first PAT today. Let's see if he can make the second one. It's a low one.
Did.
But sure enough, goes through the uprights. The score 13-0. The Stars in favor of the Cougars at home. We'll take a break here after that impressive long touchdown on just the second play on that drive for Western Boone.
Are you a fan of exciting action, great sporting atmosphere, and good displays of sportsmanship?
I am definitely a fan.
High school sports, pure spirit, pure sport, pure entertainment value. Are you a fan of amazing spirit, incredible drama, and affordable ticket prices?
I'm definitely a fan.
High school sports, pure spirit, pure sport, pure entertainment value.
Welcome back here to Western Boone High School with Field. The Stars ahead after 2 touchdowns, 13-0 your score, and the kickoff here coming up shortly. Josiah Smith set to kick. The 3 returners back, headed by number 4, Colton Clifford.
And I thought they were going to try that squib kick just behind the offensive front there. But
flags thrown. We saw number 11 there with the returner, the captain, Kevin Barger. He gets to about the 31-yard line, but like we mentioned, the flag is thrown. That'll be against North Putnam. So I'll just drop. Excuse me for interrupting you.
No, it's all right. It's going to be interesting to see what the call is here. Illegal block in the back.
You see that all the time on these kickoff returns, and luckily that wasn't one that went real far. It would have been pretty depressing, but instead they'll still lose 10 yards here.
And those flags, blocking the back flags, are especially hard to take when you've got like long runs or you break a long touchdown run only to get called back and have to cost you 15 yards.
Sunday Night Football just this week would have been a game-winning touchdown by the Seahawks and DK Metcalf. That was called back on a penalty from an illegal block. It's that kind of stuff that, of course, the Seahawks ended up losing the game because of it.
Got a close bunch here.
Going to take it himself to the far side is the quarterback, Burris, and he's met with 6 or 7 stars to bring him down. He gets maybe back to the original line of scrimmage, 21-yard line, 2nd and 10 coming up here shortly.
And they're trying to get the ball into the hands of their playmaker there, their QB. That you saw that tight trips bunch over it in that line. They try to get some extra blockers, and it's obviously a designed QB run on the outside there, but Webo's defense just all over that.
Down by 2 touchdowns early, 6:26 up on the clock. Once again, similar formation with a bunch near the line of scrimmage, trying to jump is this Stars defense. A nice option play to the near side. Green cuts it upfield and gets maybe back to that line of scrimmage, a yard pass. A lot of hard work here on the last 2 plays, and all for just a yard. And that time we saw the running back with the toss out to the weak side and wasn't able to get very much. Now third and 9, excuse me.
Saw he made that first man miss, but there were 2 or 3 other defenders from Western Boone's side over there.
That's how it goes with the Stars defense, and of course coached by Travis Bruns, the defensive coordinator. You're going to see at least 3 guys on the ball every single play. Hardly ever will a Star get that one-on-one look on defense. Now we've got the bunch formation to the near side. Looking to throw. A nice blitz pickup, some time to run. He's going to tuck it and take it himself. He's got room. He gets the first down and more. A nice run. Over. And all set up by the block from the running back. And we had Bruns in the backfield for the Stars trying to get that sack, and instead the running back Green was able to make a nice block. And then the quarterback Burris did the rest, used his legs, and got the first down on 3rd and long, tight roping that sideline.
And it was interesting. He ran to the side that had the 3 receivers out there that ran to that side. Usually you would see him run to the backside there, but good play nonetheless from their quarterback.
Yeah, nice way to mix up the play calling here. And now they've got a new set of downs. 1st and 10 from the 47-yard line, under 5 minutes to go here in this opening period. The night before Halloween, here's the quarterback keeper, cuts it upfield. He's got the first down and more. Maybe the first down, looked to get pretty close, still on his feet.
I think forward progress is going to give him the first down.
Yeah, I'll
here.
agree with you, but it looked to be a yard. And a nice run there. He seemed to have a lot of options in front of him. He wanted what appeared to take it to the outside. Instead, he cut it to the inside and then was able to make the decision to just power right up the middle and used his speed to get the first down. Once again, that's the quarterback here, Gunnar Burris.
Looked like to be a design speed option there, and I think Burris saw something we didn't out there. A couple of defenders that may have been ready to eat the pitch man up, so he kept it and saw some daylight ahead of him.
1st and 10 now from the 42-yard line. Lined up in the gun with a 3 wide receiver set.
That's a false start.
Yeah, sure enough. Just throwing it out of bounds, incomplete, and you mentioned the false start.
I think we saw it was either the slot receiver or the right tackle that flinched just a little bit before that ball was snapped.
Now, typically, when you see a false start, wouldn't the referees blow the play dead?
I think what happened there was since the ball was already out before they threw the flag, they decided to let the play go. I think if they throw the flag just before, like at the second the ball is snapped, that is when they stop the play from occurring.
Here we go. It's actually an illegal formation. And now we'll have a replay of first down after a loss of 5. And that makes sense why they'd let the play go through. The illegal formation rather than the false start. And now from the gun with that same formation, the 3 wide receivers set, lined up around the 50-yard line. 1 wide receiver lined up to his own's Clifford. And he's open right now, looking to throw, goes downfield. Clifford drops to the ground, interception, flag thrown. Caught the ball is Casey Baird. 2 flags flying in the same area at different times.
That was Bryson Sharpie. My apologies. Cannon Bruins with the pressure out there from the outside linebacker position, forcing Burris to throw that ball away early, which led to the interception.
Awaiting the call if it stands. Like I said, we have 2 flags here, but if it stands, it'll be an interception by Casey Baird, who's playing safety. That defense for Western Boone, we mentioned cornerback Casey Baird, cornerback Connor Garrity, free safeties Josiah Smith, strong safety Ryan Taylor. The 3-4 defense sees Sturgis, Koch, and Kopic on the defensive line. Middle linebackers Luke Marsh and Jake Johnson.
It looks to be a pass interference call, but a face mask call also on North Putnam. So I believe those penalties would offset,
and we would just replay the down.
Yes.
At the 2 outside linebacker positions, Clayton Heisong playing outside linebacker. We usually see him at defensive end. Instead, the Stars are a bit undermanned in this linebacking core. He's going to play outside linebacker, try his hand there today. And then Cannon Bruins, we mentioned at the top of the show that he is a force at the right outside linebacker position.
We talked about Cannon Bruins, and he has 9.5 sacks on the year.
Yeah, the Stars, they graduated one of their best defensive players in Caleb Freeman. He was leading the state in sacks at about halfway through the season last year. Now Bruins is filled in nicely for him at this defensive line. We mentioned he almost had a sack earlier on the long long run from Burris.
Similar bunch formation there.
Off the hands of Clifford goes the throw from Burris. And now we'll see 2nd down and 15 from the 47-yard line of their own. Here's the Cougar offense with the incomplete pass.
And you saw they tried to go back to that hitch route again, about that 5 to 7 yard hitch where just ran forward and turned around and looked for the ball, but looked like Burris overthrew him again.
Yeah, had his man open just a few inches away from where the ball needed to be placed. 2nd 15, the trips wide receiver set. the far side of the screen. The handoff goes to Green with the head of steam. Green gets about 7 or 8 yards, pushes forward now for about 10 yards on the gain. And that seemed to be, 6 or 7 yards before contact. He just sprinted right through his hole, and now we've got 3rd and manageable.
And, I mean, we haven't really been talking about their North Putt's running back tonight. I mean, he hasn't really gotten very many touches this evening so far, and great way to make a play there on 2nd down to make it 3rd and manageable here.
Weekly with a tackle, missed last week due to contact tracing issues. He's on the field now. Trips formation, wide receiver at the 40-yard line, taking the snap, 3rd and short, throws this one deep, and into double coverage, overthrew his wide receiver. Didn't have a whole lot of a chance there with Garrity and Weekly both in coverage.
I think Burris might have led him just a little bit too much there on that throw.
Colton Clifford, the intended target, now 4th down and medium, and can't really punt it from the situation. You're too far to kick the field goal likely.
Yeah, I think we're most likely going to see North Putt go for it here. And indeed they will.
Spread formation out of the pistol. Pretty far back is the quarterback and his running back Green. Burris to take the snap, 4th down and 6 from the 38-yard line, looking to the near side. He's got to roll out that way with pressure. Throws this one over the head of his intended wide receiver. Turnover on downs on the incomplete pass, intended for Braden Beavers. And now the Stars defense holds up after allowing quite a long drive there. Of course, we saw a few penalties, but now the Stars will operate on offense up 2 touchdowns.
And we saw number 3, Cannon Bruins, coming in there on it'd be the North Putt's left side of the offensive line, trying to get back there to the QB and pressure, and it just got there a little bit, got him a little bit of pressure there.
Just under 3 minutes to go here in the opening quarter of this 2A Sectional 37, round 2. The winner plays the winner of Seeger and Cascade. Seeger, the heavy favorites there. Man in motion's Baird, who had the interception that was called back. Here's a toss to Marsh. Marsh with that deadly stiff arm, doesn't need to use it there, but he tries and gets about 4 yards on the carry.
See that slot receiver go, the flat motion across, gets him an extra blocker there on that pitch play.
Some scores here. Tipton ahead against Eastbrook. 7-0 is the score there. Eastbrook has had a pretty easy schedule throughout this year. Right now they're down by 7 against Tipton. Triton Central's ahead as well against the Paoli Rams. 7-0 is that score. Back to our game. 13-0. Western Boone. It'll be pass play. Rolling out to the near side. Throwing this one deep to Garrity. And Garrity gets the catch, having to come back for it. Still in bounds. And he's still moving. He's
Still
not being
his
brought
feet.
down yet. Now ripped out of bounds. And what a catch and run sequence there from Garrity. He had to come back in double coverage and somehow came off with a clean catch.
Yeah, and it looked like the 2 North Putt DBs had a chance to make a play on that ball, or at least deflect it, or maybe even intercept it. And it turns out Garrity was the one that actually made the catch for the 1st down for Webo.
Some more scores here. Lebanon 7, Western 0. Tri-West 6, Greencastle 0. Danville's ahead against Cardinal Ritter 7-0 as well. Pioneer ahead by a touchdown and 2-point conversion against LaVille. And then Cascade 3, Seeger 0.
Flat motion again here.
Hand off to Marsh. Marsh to the right side. Marsh with a first down.
Marsh
Marsh still moving to the far side. He's brought down now inside the red zone with one heck of a run to the 14-yard line of the Stars and showing his speed there. He'll be replaced with power as Robbie Taylor comes back in. And it's so hard to get used to either running back. You've got Taylor, the big bruiser, and then you've got Marsh here to come in and complement him with all the speed and agility. And there we saw it, 1st and 10 from the 9-yard line. From the 19-yard line, 14. I'm struggling up here.
Got flat motion again.
I think I got to get my binoculars out. From
Number
under centers,
22,
Young.
Casey Baird here.
Handoff. Taylor
Taylor
is brought down. after a gain of about 5 or 6. And there he just fell forward, was able to fall forward for an extra about 3 yards as he had guys on his back. 2nd down and 4.
And I think some of these rushing yards, most of these rushing yards can be credited to the offensive line getting their running backs those holes so they can actually make those plays and make those cuts.
And it's a line that's seen a lot of combinations so far. We'll see how this plays throughout the next couple of games, if there are a couple more games. Now we've got the quarterback running to the far side. Would appear to be some miscommunication. Flag thrown. To the 1-yard line goes the quarterback, Young. He turned right, his running back went left, and he just had to take it, and it was pretty successful, but
might be a holding on Weibo here. And indeed it is.
28 seconds to go here in this opening period. We'll see 2nd down again. Dropping back 10 yards instead of 1st and goal from the 1. They're going to drop it back 10 from the spot.
And it looked like that right tackle had one of the North Putnam defenders hooked there for that QB to try and scramble out and make a play there for a touchdown.
2nd and long. Here's the snap, looking to throw. He's got a man open in the end zone. Garrity drops the pass, or rather not a drop, but a nice defense there, as we saw Corbin Sprunger. And Sprunger is a guy that matches up pretty well with Garrity size-wise. Of course, it's hard to match the speed of Garrity, but there he does a nice job getting up and defending the pass. Sprunger 6'1", 160. One of the taller defensive backs on this team.
And you saw Sprunger there go back there and turn and look for the ball to help him make a play on that. We got a quad set here.
Looking to throw, same play, design. This time it is what appears to be a catch. No, incomplete.
Incomplete again.
As Garrity lets go of the ball as he heads to the ground.
That's two great plays by Sprunger, ready to see the ball and watch it all the way through and go up and make a play, so it's not a touchdown again for Weibo.
2 really good throws from the quarterback, Young. We mentioned he has a clean pocket so far today, and twice that his star wide receiver, Garrity, not able to pull it down. Great coverage on both plays. And we saw the 4 wide receivers set to the near side. Coach Pelly could kick a field goal here if he wants. His kicker, Josiah Smith, of course, did miss his PAT. The ineligible player penalty is declined. Now we'll see 4th down and 13. And like I mentioned, the field goal unit coming out here, Josiah Smith.
They are going to attempt it.
Son of Hunter Smith, the punter from the Indianapolis Colts. We'll see what kind of leg he's got on him. The holders, Durbin, the backup quarterback, takes a snap, puts it on the ground, spinning, and no good goes the kick. North Putnam now with 7 seconds to go before the end of the first quarter, and they'll be on offense backed up deep in their own territory. That's 2 missed kicks so far for for Josiah Smith.
And I mean, with those kicks, you never really know where they're going to go. Sometimes you line it up and you kick it beautifully, and it just something else. Other outside elements have effects on it. You're not able to get the field goal in that situation. Got a trip set here.
Smith is 18 for 20 on PATs so far this year. Looking to throw. He's going to have to be sacked on this play. The Stars get home. And that time Andrew Kopic gets in the backfield. That'll drain the rest of the time out of the first quarter. And we'll talk about that play after our break on WB TV Sports.
Sportsmanship doesn't happen just on the court or on the field or on the mat. It doesn't happen only in the pool or on the green or the track. It also happens in the stands, on the sidelines, on the web, and at home. That's because sportsmanship is everyone's responsibility. We remind you to practice good sportsmanship at all high school sporting events. Treat athletes and officials with respect during competition and especially in social media. And support your team's coaching staff. Remember, sportsmanship has a face. Yours. A message from your high school and the Indiana High School Athletic Association.
Welcome back here for WBTV Sports. I'm Nathaniel Finch here with Riley Woodall from Southmont as we see the drone shot brought to you by Nicky Ball. And the score right now, 13-0 as we approach the second quarter. The ball flipped on the other side of the field. The Cougars wearing the white jerseys. You'll see them going from right to left here shortly. The Stars wearing their blues and reds. And we saw the missed field goal from Josiah Smith. He's now 2 for 5 on the year. Some scores as Lebanon's up 10-6 against Western. Triton Central 13-0 against Paoli. And Tipton 14, Eastbrook 0.
And this is kind of a rough situation for North Putt because you're already backed up. You already have the short end of the field. And you take that negative play, and that just puts you in an even deeper situation here to try and dig yourself out of.
After the sack by Kopic, here's the throw. Almost intercepted. As the pressure, 2 unblocked defenders for Western Moon, Kopic, and we saw there Clayton Heisong trying to meet at the quarterback.
Looked like they were trying to set up some kind of halfback screen there in the backfield.
It didn't work. Incomplete pass. 3rd and long now. As you mentioned, a rough situation. Likely just going to want to get as many yards as they can here. Not as worried about the first down, just trying to give the punter some room. But, of course, trying to set up a play to where it has the potential to go all the way.
Of course.
Spread formation from the gun. Green to his left. The quarterback, Burris, takes a snap. Looks to throw with pressure.
Marsh.
Was that a safety?
That
They're
was
going to mark him
close.
down at the 2-yard line as Luke Marsh gets a sack.
And it looked like Marsh came in there on the blitz completely untouched, and Burris was just not expecting it
Riley,
at all.
Marsh almost blocked a punt in the open field. How is North Putnam going to be able to defend this punt if he's got to be just 10 yards back from the snap?
I mean, you gotta have a talk or at least tell your front line or expect your front line of that block team to just be able to give your punter enough time to do that. But ideally, this is not a great situation to be in.
He gets the punt off, but it's not pretty. It goes out of bounds near
the 28.
Yeah, about around the 30-yard line.
Yeah.
He's going to walk it right between what we said. At the 29 is about what he's standing at. And that was pretty impressive. He was able to get the punt off just barely. Had all the pressure.
Right.
You can't take a sack on 3rd and long backed in your own territory.
Looked like 3 of those Weibo defenders on that punt return team were close to blocking that punt in the end zone. That would have been a huge play for them.
And we kind of alluded to it. Typically, when you're in that situation on 3rd and long, it's always either a quick pass, a dump off to your running back, or even a handoff, a toss, anything, rather than dropping back and trying to go for it all. Here's the handoff from the Stars offense on their 4th possession of the game. And the pile pushes about 7 yards, 3rd and short coming up here next.
And I think the Weibo offensive line has done a great job of getting movement on those 4 big front defensive linemen of North Putt to allow the running backs to make plays tonight. Looks like we got a timeout here taken by, well, actually we have an injured player.
He's being helped off the field, but we saw there with Seth Arians, the junior linebacker. He'll go off on his own power now.
He was in there in the pile tackling Robbie Taylor down there for that 7-yard gain.
.11.5 to go here in the first half. 2nd down and 4 at the 23-yard line.
We saw North Putt have pretty good stands the last time Weibo was close to their own end zone, having defended a couple of touchdown-saving passes. Let's see if they can do the same thing again.
It's harder now. 2nd and short. The drive just started. Guys are fresh. Here is Taylor, takes the big run, gets a first down, and inside the 15-yard line to the 13. And as you mentioned, this is almost the identical situation as the last drive. 1st and 10, just outside the 10-yard line. Keep an eye on the 6'4" wide receiver, Connor Garrity.
Yeah, Garrity was a little slow to get up there. It looked like he was trying to make a good downfield block on one of North Putt's defensive backs. Tight formation here.
Taylor with a hole. Taylor exploits the hole. Taylor gets near the first down before he's finally brought down on the play. And now we've got, what'll be?
It is a first down.
They will give the first. So first.
Just 2nd and short.
2nd and short from inside the 5. Pioneers ahead against LaVille 8-6. Heritage Christian will automatically advance to the sectional championship. Northeastern had to forfeit the game, and then Lebanon ahead 10-6 against Western. Heavy set formation. Garrity the lone wide receiver.
Be interesting to see if they want to go to the fade route again for Garrity.
Instead, they'll hand it off, and the stop. Maybe he will get the first down and get to the 1-yard line, but the defense from North Putnam stops the running back, and Robbie Taylor. Extra blockers and all. Nice play.
They're running a little hurry up right here to try and get there.
Gets the okay from the referee to
Yeah.
run the play.
QB
Quarterback sneak results in a touchdown. Still awaiting the call, but pretty sure. Yes, sir. A 3rd touchdown of the game from Western Boone, the first one on the ground. And we see the quarterback keeper from Elliott Young. The score right now 19-0.
And I've noticed all night here there are some plays where North Putt's defense is kind of scrambling to get set in some situations. And right there, Weibo recognized that and exploited that with the QB sneak call.
41st carry on the year by Elliott Young, the 6th touchdown on the ground.
He's good.
Young now has 20 total touchdowns on the year, the highest total, of course. 16 of those through the air. Well, that will take a quick break up here as well and be back shortly on WBTV Sports.
I don't think of this as a high school weight room. It's more like a high school classroom. I'm learning how to manage my time here. I'm learning that it's important to have goals and that it takes persistence and commitment to reach them. And I'm learning that the best way to lead is by example.
Indiana High School Sports. They're more than just a game.
Come and see me play.
We return here moments before kickoff. Back to return, we mentioned those 3 returners for North Putnam. Colton Clifford, one of them. The other one, Kevin Barger.
And they've tried a pooch kick to the left here, and they've also tried a straight squib to the right. It'll be interesting to see what they try here.
This
Another
one
pooch.
a high one, yeah. Bounces around the 30-yard line, picked up, no dropped on the ground.
Just kind of got a fall on it there. This is number 11, Luke Neese.
At the 30-yard line, number 11, Kevin Barger. And the score 20-0. This North Putt team needs a score here on offense. Under 10 minutes to go in the first half.
That was number 11, Kevin Barger. My apologies.
Be interested to see how aggressive this team gets now that they're in need of a score. Do you go for it on 4th down in virtually any situation? Do you go deep a lot? It'll be interesting to see what this offense decides to do.
All I know is it looks like they need to strike quick and fast.
And they look to do that here with the pass play. Plenty of time. Throws this one to the boundary and dropped. 2 flags on the play. The intended target was Corbin Sprunger.
And that looked to be like a That looked to be a pretty good throw. It just the ball seemed to slip right out of Sprunger's hands there.
And with all the time that he had, you anticipate him going with the deep shot. Instead, he just gets the quick little out route, and nevertheless incomplete and a couple penalties.
And I think if you're North Putt here, you got to combine the deep shots and sort of those medium to short shots there to sort of keep Weibo from getting a chance to get the ball back before this first half's over.
But you definitely have to put the ball through the air and at least give your playmakers a chance to take it. We've seen a few errant throws from the quarterback Burris. He's got 3 wide receivers set to the far side, 1 to the near side. 1st and 15 from the 25-yard line out of the gun. Green, the running back, looking to throw, gets it to the near side. Pass caught, but smashed to the ground. Connor Garrity in defense of the wide receiver, Cody Perkins. And what an open field tackle from Connor Garrity.
It's a good play by Garrity to come up on that hitch route and make sure the receiver there didn't have enough room to make a cut and get some yards in that space there.
Down by 3 scores. Here's this Cougar offense. 2nd down and 12 from the 28-yard line.
Coming out in the trip set again.
Out of the gun. Here's Burris. He'll take the snap, hand it off to his running back, Green, who's smashed for a Luke Marsh tackle for a loss. He does that so often. He's got a sack today. He's got a tackle for a loss today, and we're just getting started. Luke Marsh, the best player on this defense.
And you got to think with big plays like that Marsh is making as a leader stepping up there, that certainly gets that Western Boone defense fired up to follow in his footsteps for sure. Looks like we got another trip set here.
4 wide receivers from the gun. Here's Burris, 3rd down and 15 from the 25-yard line. Drops back to pass, runs it himself, and is still being brought down. Now he is. That time we saw Zane Sturgis in on the tackle. Doesn't gain very much. We'll have 4th down and long. And here, Tess, what I was asking, if you punt or not. And sure enough, they'll come out to punt.
And I think this is a good call here because the last couple times that Western Boone's had the ball, North Putt's been backed up into their own end zone here. So I think if you give Western Boone more field to go, that gives your defense a better chance of stopping them and getting the turnover.
The punter counts his players, notices he has 10, calls in the extra man. And here's the snap from the punter, Burris. Another nice punt, going to get a good roll. It'll be picked up by Baird, who is then smashed to the ground.
Yep.
Yeah, you mentioned the face mask penalty, but that's not really one that you want to pick up if you're Baird. He was met with 4 or 5 different Cougars. .7:28 up on the clock here for WBTV Sports. Once again, I'm Nathaniel Finch alongside former Southmont football player Riley Woodall. 20-0 is the score here. Western Boone ahead at home. And punt returns so far, the Stars have been abysmal in that category. They only have 6 punt returns, an average of 4 yards per return. That time he loses yards, but the penalty will gain some. Stars team has found a little bit of success on kickoff returns, but as far as punting goes, their punt returns have been terrible.
I think Burris was thinking that the ball came out after the punt returner of Western Boone got face masked and went down. I think Burris thought he had that ball.
Stars offense coming out after the quarterback sneak from Elliott Young scored the touchdown. They're going to march off the yards here from the face mask penalty. So Elliott Young now has a rushing touchdown and 2 passing touchdowns. 1 to Mitch Miller in the back of the end zone and 1 to Connor Garrity on the electric 70-yard bomb. He'll be under center for this play. Marsh and Miller, the wing backs.
Again, we got another tight set here. We only have really one receiver out wide.
Robbie Taylor, the running back, with his hand in the dirt. Man in motion's Marsh. It'll be a handoff, counter run, and Marsh runs forward for 7 or 8. And that's an interesting play call. We saw it last week as well, where the wing, that time it was Marsh, took off like he was going to go for the pitch, stops, and gets the handoff, and it worked.
I think it especially helps there because you mentioned before Robbie Taylor's more of the power back. Luke Marsh is more of the shifty back there, but that time they kind of combined the two, and it looked like Robbie Taylor was a lead blocker on that play.
And the thing for the Stars, their offense, a lot of their plays are run from the same look. When they're under center, you've got the wing, so that very well could have been just an inside handoff with the wing moving. It could have been a throw with the wing moving or a toss. And there they were able to change up the play call, get the counter here on the next play. The Cougars defense stops the running back. He gets maybe a yard. We'll have 3rd down and 1. Robbie Taylor finds no daylight there on this North Putnam defensive line.
That was a good job of North Putt's defensive linemen and their linebackers to rally up to that ball to stop Robbie Taylor for a minor gain.
And they've got size on that defensive line. North Putt does. 6'4" Mason Ray, 6'5" R.J. Human, and a couple 6'1" and 6'2" guys on the left side. Heavy set formation once again. This time a handoff goes to the running back Taylor, who easily picks up the 3rd and 1 and more. A nice gain there. Gets his team inside the 35. 6:12 to go here in this first half.
And I don't know if you saw there, but it looked like one of North Putt's outside linebackers walked up on the line, and that kind of acted like a defensive end, and you saw their backers playing up a little bit closely on that 3rd and short, trying to stop that run game, but Robbie Taylor powered forward anyway.
Taylor's the man in the backfield right now. Man in motion is the man who gets the sweep is Miller on the near side. Miller with some shifty moves, still in bounds, and is finally had to be tackled down after a gain of 8 to the 28-yard line. And Miller very well could have just stepped out of bounds and avoided contact. Instead, he cut it upfield. He had a guy ripping his jersey back and still pushed forward. A nice effort there to set up 2nd down and 2. Ball at the 28-yard line. Here comes the offense. See what kind of look they go. It's short yardage situation, so I'd imagine we'll see heavy set. Sure enough, the extra blocker's high song.
Got 2 receivers outside this time.
2 receivers, and then that wing back. It'll be a throw. Looking to the far side, gets the slant.
Jailbreak.
Miller has 1 touchdown already, and he adds to his total with 2 on the slant throw. A nice screen and the touchdown to the house. Nice play by Mitch Miller in the 4th total touchdown for the quarterback, Elliott Young.
And, I mean, that was a great play call there. I mean, you saw Luke Marsh go out there in motion, act as a blocker, and, of course, the receiver came back in for that jailbreak screen catch, had some blockers, and sure enough, touchdown.
Here's the next extra point attempt. Jake Taylor with the kick, and he makes that one. We saw Josiah Smith kicking PATs earlier. Now Jake Taylor will take the honors. Then I'll see if I can pull up Jake Taylor's numbers here. PATs, he's 15 out of 16, over 90% on the year. But he's only kicked for 4 games here for the Stars. Josiah Smith has played really well. Just today's a bit of a struggle. 5 minutes to go. 27-0 is the score. And this Stars team ready to get their kickoff unit out on the field. And I wonder what kind of kickoff the Stars are going to go with here. I'd imagine maybe one that goes high and around like the 35-yard line or so. They've got that gap. They've done that the last couple kicks.
I think with those high pooch kicks there, you want to try and, if you're Weibo's kickoff team, try and get it just in that area to where your rushers and runners can get there and try and recover the ball.
Garcia, Clifford, and Barger back to return. The kick from Smith. This one's high, goes far over the head of Clifford, who brings this one in at the 10-yard line right now and is making some guys miss, but a nice kick. Went almost for a touchback, it appeared, by Smith, and instead it'll be brought up for about a 10-yard gain to the 15-yard line. Really good play on special teams, and now the Cougars set up with tough field position once again.
And we've seen Webo's kickoff team do some pooch kicks and some squib kicks there, and that time they just varied it up a little bit to try and catch North Putt's kickoff return team off guard a little bit, and North Putt's deep man still got a pretty solid gain there.
1st and 10 comes the Cougars from the 16-yard line of their own. 4:51 up on the clock.
Looks like it might be a trips wing look here to the far side, or to our side here.
Garrity calls over some help in the form of Jake Johnson. Now from the gun, Burris
Speed option
to the near side. Will he be sacked? Will he throw it? He will, and this time out of bounds. Gains a couple yards. Is the wide receiver there with Kevin Barger. And you mentioned that option play. We've seen it throughout the game for Burris. That time he executed it pretty well. Gained a few yards in what could have been a sack.
And you saw there Burris had about 4 or 5 seconds there where he was just waiting for the Webo defense to commit, and once they committed, he got the throw out there to his pitch man and was able to get a few yards on there.
Seeger scored against Cascade. That score 8-3. Pioneer 22, LaVille is 6, and then Danville up 17-0 against Indianapolis Cardinal Ritter.
Got another trips wing set to the far side here.
From the guns, Burris rolling out, looking to throw. This one goes deep and out of bounds. The head coach, the only one in the area, as it just sailed out of bounds, out of the reach of, seemed to be the intended target, Clifford, who was going for the out route. Had maybe a little bit of space, but the throw just a bit too far to the right. Now we've got 3rd and 7 from the 19-yard line. Ball will be on the near hash mark. Stars defense out there waiting what the formation will be, as are we from the North Putnam Cougars.
Got a spread look here coming out on 3rd and long here.
From the gun is the quarterback, Burris. Burris looks to throw, gets the block pickup, now with some pressure, flips this one. The catch
Looked like it
made
was caught
for what will be a first down, and a nice catch there by Barger. An even better throw by the quarterback. Coming to the near side, had to roll. Rolled left, through right, and a nice play there.
And I mean, great concentration there by Burris and by Barger, both having the patience to wait and throw that ball at the right time, and Barger concentrating on when that ball was coming to him, able to pick up the first down there. Trips wing set again to the far side.
From the guns, Burris. The rush coming. He rolls out. He's got protection now. He's going to cut inside, wants to take it himself, and instead will be dropped for what will be counted as a sack.
Uh-oh.
And there's some flags out near the spot of the tackle.
Looked like one of the Webo defenders might have either fallen on Burris or might have been a late hit on Burris, it looked like.
Took him a bit longer to get up, but he's on his feet now.
And it is a personal foul on Western Boone's defense.
That'll be an automatic first down. And this, even though North Putnam was backed up pretty deep, they're able to pick up a couple consecutive first downs. That one via penalty, the other one via a nice throw. We'll see if they can continue this momentum. They've got just over 4 minutes left here in this second quarter. Down by 4 scores, but the game's not out of reach.
Got a quad set over to the far side there on the shorter side of the field. Looks like a wildcat formation with the Barger.
And the ball's on the ground. That's what happens when you try to go from the Wildcat. A nice stop by the Stars defense. Lose maybe 5 or 6 yards. And when the quarterback, Burris, is not the one taking the snap, it can be troublesome sometimes. They tried to mix it up there with the Wildcat, and Barger just was not able to pick up that snap. And instead, it'll be 2nd down and 15 from the 34-yard line.
Sometimes that's what you got to do, though, especially with these sectional games for sure. You got to pull out all the stops to try and advance to that next week of play.
Spread formation, the running back Green to the right side of the quarterback. Burris takes a snap. Looking to throw deep, launches this one downfield. He's got a man open. Is Colton Clifford who drops it. What would have been a huge play, and Colton Clifford lets it go through his arms. He had a few steps on the man. That very well could have been a touchdown.
Looked like Clifford, when he did beat the defender, it looked like he just mistimed when to clamp on the ball and catch the ball, and the ball just dropped right through his hands there.
How many times have we seen Clifford open today to where the ball wasn't where it needed to be? That time, it was his fault as he let that one slip through.
Nevertheless, we still got 3rd down here. Coming out in the spread set.
Taking the snap, looking to throw. Bidancy gets out of the pocket a bit early, makes the completion.
Has some time.
And now, like you mentioned, with a 1st down and more, running down the sideline,
And
2
there's a
flags
flag
thrown
on
out
it.
of bounds at the 36-yard line. The receiver was Kevin Barger.
Got a couple of Weibo defenders clapping there. I think they already know that it's going to be on North Putt.
And that's killer. What a momentum shift that could have been for North Putnam to maybe gain a little bit of confidence here headed to the second half. And instead, like you mentioned, that one's going to be a holding against the visiting Cougars. Blocking the back, that is.
And I mean, we saw number 11 Barger there catch the ball in the middle there and was able to use his speed to get out to the edge there for that. Would have been a 1st down there, but it's a costly block in the back there that is going to put them back even further than what they were.
This team likes to use those hooks as far as the wide receiver routes, and that time it worked out, aside from the penalty, but completion-wise, that was plenty for a 1st down and more. Now we've got 3rd down and 12 from the 37-yard line, out of the pistol formation, spread offense. Burris will take the snap. It's low, picks it up, throws it, rifles it to the near side. 1st down. No, he
Fumbles
drops the ball. The Stars will
Looked
pick
like
it
a
up.
fumble.
Baird with some room. Baird cuts it up, and now will be brought down around the 30-yard line. The defense recovers the fumble. Baird tried to get the interception, was called back on penalty. This time he gets his turnover and returns it to the 30 for nice field position for the Stars with 2:34 to go before they head to the locker rooms.
It looked like that was Braden Beavers who actually had the catch and the 1st down, but that was a great play by the Western Boone defender there to knock that ball free and get the fumble.
Just when it looked like things were going well for this offense, the killer turnover.
Get another heavy set here for Western Boone.
The 11th fumble recovered on the year for the Stars, 1st one by Baird. It'll be a handoff to the right side as Robbie Taylor pushes forward, and now the pile brings him down, gains 7 or 8 inside the 25 to the 23-yard line. And the clock starts to roll down, 2:22.
And we saw number 5 Burris a little slow to get up there. I think that's what comes of playing both sides of the ball. I mean, it's exhausting out there to play both offensively and defensively.
And he's a punter, and as we mentioned, he has more carries this year than completions, so he takes a beating. Here's the handoff, cutting inside, and Taylor gets a 1st down. Huge game for Stars fans. Tipton ahead 22, Eastbrook 6. The Panthers are the team that have been to the state finals in 2A 3 out of the last 4 years, have lost all 3 times, including twice in a row to the Stars, and they're in danger of the upset. Tipton ahead 22-6, of course, plenty of time for the comeback. This score's 27-0. The Stars on offense trying to increase their lead. before they head to the half. Here's the throw, caught
Catch
by
by
Marsh. Marsh leans forward,
Looks like a touchdown.
and he scores. Another 6 up on the board for the Stars. And Luke Marsh this time catches the 5th total touchdown in the first half. From the quarterback, Elliott Young has 4 through the air, 1 on the ground. Garrity with a touchdown reception. He's got Marsh now with a touchdown reception and 2 touchdown catches for his wingback, Luke Marsh. And now to increase the lead to 34, we'll talk about the implications of this PAT here coming. The ball's down, kicks up through the uprights. And if the Stars went for the 2-point conversion and got it, then the score would have been 35-0, which would almost guarantee the running clock for the second half. Instead, they go for the PAT. 34-0 is the score. And as of right now, the clock will run as normal until that score bumps up plus 35 for the Stars. North Putnam now still has some time to make a drive. We saw a few pass completions there. If they can kind of start to move the ball through the air, it starts with a good kickoff return here.
When we talk about it, that penalty, that block in the back was a drive killer, and then of course the fumble recovery.
At the half, Lebanon's ahead 16-12 against Western. Triton Central 28, Paoli 0. A couple of the scores here, and a reminder, the winner of this game will play the winner of Seeger and Cascade. The last score we have there is 8-3 in Seeger's favor. Thank you to Andy Hoskins for providing the scoring updates throughout the year for WB TV Sports. Josiah Smith back to kick.
Seen a wide variety of kicks tonight from Western Boone's kickoff team. We've seen pooch kicks, we've seen squib kicks, and the last one he had kicked it pretty deep back there to about the 15.
Yeah, went over the shoulder of the returner. He was able to reach up. That's Clifford was able to reach up and grab it, or else that would have bounced into the end zone with all likelihood for the touchback. So we've seen everything from this kicker, Smith, and he's had plenty of opportunities. Here's a short kick, goes up, bounces around, and on the ball now, just in time, is this North Putnam return team. Look at the ball here with 1:26 to go in the second quarter. Inside the 35-yard line.
And if you're North Putt here, you're inside of 2 minutes, so most likely going to see a lot of pass plays probably to the outside, probably some of those hitch routes to get out of bounds there, keep the clock stopped, but still gaining yards too to try and get a score before the half's over.
Neither team's called a timeout so far. They have all 3 of them here inside the last minute and a half of this first half of play. From the gun is the quarterback, Burris. He'll take the snap. He'll play with the option, takes it himself, and takes the hit as he is now dropped for a gain of about half a yard. That was High Song with a tackle for, like we mentioned, maybe just a yard. And now a minute and more dropping off the clock. If you're North Putnam, do you just go conservative and head to the halftime down by 34, or do you try to go for a couple deep shots?
It depends. I mean, the morality, obviously, if you're trying to look to boost morale, I would assume try and at least try to get down the field and maybe get a potential score before the half's over.
But coming off of a turnover, it's tough. The Stars trying to rip the ball out, unsuccessful, but they do get a nice stop, only a gain of 1. The handoff went to Cam Hankins. And 30 seconds and more dropping. North Putnam doesn't have to run a play if they don't want to. We've seen a couple run plays, 3rd down and 10. Of course, you don't want the Stars to come back and score.
Looks like they are going to try and get a play off. About 10 seconds to go here.
Under center with 3 seconds and dropping. Handoff, the reverse to the far side. Barger uses his legs and gets out of bounds and ends the half. 34-0 is the score. The Stars at home, and they're ahead against this North Putnam Cougars team that's been simply outmatched to this point in the game. The score 34-0. Nathaniel and Riley will be back after this break on WB TV Sports.
Are you a fan of exciting action, great sporting atmosphere, and good displays of sportsmanship?
I am definitely a fan.
High school sports, pure spirit, pure sport, pure entertainment value. Are you a fan of amazing spirit, incredible drama, and affordable ticket prices?
I'm definitely a fan.
High school sports, pure spirit, pure sport, pure entertainment value.
Want to know what I like best about playing basketball for my high school? I like it because it's a place where my friends get to see me play. I like it because I'm playing for someone besides myself. I'm playing for everybody in my school and every person in my community.
Indiana high school sports. They're more than just a game.
Come and see me play.
Meet Tommy. Tommy's not sure which sport he will play in high school someday. But no matter what he ends up choosing, playing sports in high school will help pave the way to a happier, healthier life. All Tommy needs to do is make up his mind. High school sports. Pure spirit, pure sport. Pure launching pad for life.
Question. When you walk into the boardrooms of the most successful companies here in Indiana, who do you meet? Answer. Men and women who play high school sports. Education-based high school sports give us more than athletes we can root for. They give us leaders we can depend on. Question. So where will we find tomorrow's leaders? Answer. High school sports.
This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association. Are Are you a fan of exciting action, great sporting atmosphere, and good displays of sportsmanship?
I am definitely a fan.
High school sports, pure spirit, pure sport, pure entertainment value.
I don't think of this as a high school weight room. It's more like a high school classroom. I'm learning how to manage my time here. I'm learning that it's important to have goals and that it takes persistence and commitment to reach them. And I'm learning that the best way to lead is by example.
Indiana High School Sports. They're more than just a game.
Come and see me play.
A wintry Friday night. A packed gymnasium in a tight-knit community. A shot taken. History made. A state of delirium? No. The state of Indiana. High school sports. Pure spirit, pure sport, pure Indiana. This message brought to you by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the high schools in your community. Are you a fan of amazing spirit, incredible drama, and affordable ticket prices?
I'm definitely a fan.
High school sports, pure spirit, pure sport, pure entertainment value. Sportsmanship doesn't happen just on the court or on the field or on the mat. It doesn't happen only in the pool or on the green or the track. It also happens in the stands, on the sidelines, on the web, and at home. That's because sportsmanship is everyone's responsibility. We remind you to practice good sportsmanship at all high school sporting events. Treat athletes and officials with respect during competition and especially in social media. And support your team's coaching staff. Remember, sportsmanship has a face. Yours. A message from your high school and the Indiana High School Athletic Association. A crisp October evening. A stadium filled with fans. A pass-through. A journey completed. State of euphoria? No. The state of Indiana. High school sports. Pure spirit. Pure sport. Pure Indiana. This message brought to you by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the high schools in your community. The debate about sports specialization by high school athletes continues. Some argue that high school athletes who play one sport all year long have a better chance of landing a lucrative pro contract. But that's simply not true. In fact, 30 of the 32 first-round picks in last year's NFL draft played more than one sport in high school. Of the 32 players drafted, 22 also participated in high school track and field. 19 also played basketball. Some also played baseball and lacrosse. What's the path to success for high school athletes here in Indiana, no matter what their goals might be? Study hard. Always do your best. And if you can, play more than one sport in high school. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association. The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 160,000 participants here in Indiana who take part in high school sports.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start? Here, in the classroom. On the diamond.
In the pool. On the field. Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends.
Yeah!
Be great.
Participate!
Of course, no scoring here for North Putt. Connor Garrity has 3 catches for 93 yards, including the 70-yard touchdown grab early in the first. Elliott Young, we mentioned, 7 for 984, 5 total touchdowns. Robbie Taylor, 13 rushes for 87 yards. Gunnar Burris, 4 for 16 for 15 passing yards. That's crazy. And then he's got his running back here, receiving Colton Clifford has a catch for 8. And then his other wide receiver, Kevin Barger, has 2 catches for 11 yards. Rushing-wise, Robert Green, 6 rushes for 40 yards. I'll do it for stats here. And basically, to recap what happened in the first half, a lot of scoring for Western Boone, no scoring for North Putnam. It has been a wild first half for the Stars team.
And we have seen some flurries from North Putt on offense and defense. I mean, towards the end of the second quarter, we saw North Putt starting to drive down the field only to get called back by penalties and then a fumble. And then, of course, we've had a couple plays broken up that were intended for Connor Garrity, just Garrity, and they were broken up by Barger. So a couple of flurries there, but I mean, really Western Boone has dominated this game so far.
This defense has done just about everything they can for North Putnam, but the offense not giving them any help. They've been backed up against their own end zone multiple times, and it's definitely been a struggle. Looking at the weather here, it's now 36 degrees, clear skies, the full moon ahead of us here on the night before Halloween, and that temperature likely going to stay right around the 35, 36 temperature mark. I'm still in football mode. Let's take a break here and be back shortly on WBTV Sports.
Sportsmanship doesn't happen just on the court or on the field or on the mat. It doesn't happen only in the pool or on the green or the track. It also happens in the stands, on the sidelines, on the web, and at home. That's because sportsmanship is everyone's responsibility. We remind you to practice good sportsmanship at all high school sporting events. Treat athletes and officials with respect during competition and especially in social media. And support your team's coaching staff. Remember, sportsmanship has a face.
In one word, I would describe Western Boone as welcoming.
Caring.
Incredible.
Western Boone is the hub of the community, not necessarily right in a metropolis, so to speak.
It is close to Indianapolis. It is close to some of those major things. But also being a part of the Western Boone area involves a community that's with you to support you.
We have tiny little towns all around us. We have kids who live in the middle of the country. They're able to come together, be together, focus on one another here. This is the heart.
For being what's considered to be a smaller rural school, we have made a conscious effort to provide many opportunities for our students.
Western Boone is preparing me for the future in so many ways. It's unbelievable.
Some of the courses that we take are challenging, but we also get to have some fun.
The teachers are very specialized in their teaching field, and they teach to the students' interests, not just to the test and the book.
Everything we do as teachers is for the kids. We try to make sure our classrooms are very student-centered, and we really hope that every student succeeds.
Every teacher really strives to teach all different types of learners.
And the teachers make me feel very special because they make you feel more like family rather than just another student.
So I try to reach all of my students and just make a personal contact, get to know them as individuals, not just pupils sitting at my desk. I often call them my kids because I look at them that way. I get them for 180 days and I try to know them in and out.
I love teaching here because I know if I have a kid who needs help, I'm not the only one who's going to help them.
You're more than just a student to those teachers, and I see it and hear it all the time when I talk to not only our students but our parents.
When the kids are in the halls, the teachers know them by name. They know something about them.
And you don't see that in larger schools. But at the same time, Western Boone is large enough that we provide opportunities a large school to provide. Western Boone has strived to be ahead in student technology with having the same laptop to take home because it provides opportunities for all students.
I am so thankful that Western Boone has embraced technology the way that it has. I use technology in my classroom every single day. It's so much more engaging, and test scores and assessments really prove that the technology is beneficial for the students.
I really like how Western Boone uses technology to help us keep in touch with our students' academics.
We get emails almost daily from both schools with updates as to what's going on campus and activities, and I really like that. We always know what's going on, and it really makes you feel a part of the community.
We've always found that students that are involved in activities are more successful and more prepared when they leave the building.
The teachers here at Western Boone not only push the kids academically, but they also encourage them to be involved.
I think sometimes at a larger district or larger schools, you may get labeled to do that one thing, and that's pretty much what you're going to do throughout your high school career. At Western Boone, it's very nice that you can go from one to the other activity as the seasons change, and it's very much encouraged.
Students with a passion can chase any dream here at Western Boone, and if they're passionate enough and work hard at it, they can be successful.
Back we are to Western Boone High School. Nathaniel Finch and Riley Woodall here. I'm working on the play-by-play. Riley, my color commentator. Riley, thank you for joining us here
for
today.
having me. I appreciate it.
Some scores here before we get into the action. Tipton 29, Eastbrook 12. In the game where Eastbrook, of course, has had that easy schedule throughout the year. Number 2 ranked in the 2A class, and Tipton right now ahead of them pretty handily. Tri-West 12, Greencastle 8, Danville 24, Cardinal Ritter 0. Tri-West is ahead 6-0 against Greencastle. Shenandoah 13, Cecina 7. And then Seeger is ahead 22-3 against Cascade at the half. Cascade scored the first field goal of the game, and then Seeger's done everything else to this point. Likely going to be the team that the winner of this game faces. These teams are now headed back out onto the field. Clock goes to 0, 34-0 the score. And the team that's down will receive the opening kickoff.
It'll be interesting to see Webo's approach to this kick, whether they're going to kick it short and try and recover it, or if they're going to try and boot it deep and try and tackle the returner back to about would be the north putt 10-15.
Garcia, Clifford, and Barger back to return for the Cougars. You've seen each of them have the ball in their hands, I believe, so far. A lot of kickoffs for this Stars team so far. Here's Josiah Smith back to kick. We mentioned the returners, Garcia, Barger, and Clifford. And the kick for the second half is away. Goes to the far side around the 20-yard line, picked up by Clifford. And with some blockers ahead of him, he heads out of bounds around the 30-yard line.
Again, Western Boone's kickoff team making North Putt's offense start on the shorter side of the field, having to drive a longer way to get a score here.
On October 21st of 2006, Michigan State and Northwestern, they played, and what ended up being the largest comeback in FBS history. Michigan State overcame a 38-3 deficit with just under 10 minutes to go in the third quarter. Of course, that's college, but we've seen even more scoring in high school typically, so this game's not over yet. But first, a sack
by Luke Marsh.
Marsh with his second sack of the game, and that one will lose a substantial amount of yards. We'll see second down and long here shortly, and what a play by this defense to start off and set the tone for this second half.
And we've seen Burris before in the first half scramble out of situations like that and at least get back to the line of scrimmage or at least gain a couple yards. And in that situation, Marsh was able to chase him down for about a 10-yard loss there.
2nd and 21 from the 19-yard line we go. Here's this offense. The Cougars set in the spread formation. From the gun, Green to back to the left, takes a snap, fakes the handoff, looks to throw. With some time, throws this one deep, a high ball to the far sideline. It is what appears to be caught, sure enough.
Wow, what a catch.
What a catch by Corbin Sprunger. And the referee's still trying to decide what they want to call. They'll call it incomplete. About as close as you can get to a catch from Sprunger.
It was still a great effort to go up and at least attempt to, he caught the ball and at least attempt to try and get a good gain for your team there on offense.
Yeah, Garrett in on coverage. It's hard to catch when he's covering you. And we saw that there. 3rd down and 21 from the 19-yard line. A tick under 11 to go here in this 3rd quarter. Trips wide receiver set. That's to the near side. Taking the snap. Rolling our way. Looking to throw. He might be able to take it and run it. He gets the block from
Nice
Barger.
block.
And now will be brought down by 6 or 7 guys. Gets back to the original line of scrimmage +1. We'll see 4th down and 9 from the 32-yard line. And that was an impressive run. We see now the quarterback Burris slow to get up once again. As well as Western Boone, the guy slow to get up is Dominic Mitchell.
Looked like a pretty tough collision over there on the sideline when about 3 or 4 more of the Western Boone defenders came in there to help out with the tackle. Looks like they're going to punt again.
Here's the snap. The punt's in the air, almost blocked by both Mitchell and Marsh. Bruins, that is, and it's going to roll to the 30-yard line before it stops, and it is down by the Cougar. Corbin White was the guy who downed the punt, and now the Stars team will have to go 70 yards to score with 10:02 to go here in just the 3rd quarter of play, up 34-0. And you know the largest comeback in NFL history was in 1993. Frank Reich, the Colts coach, was a backup quarterback for the Buffalo Bills at the time. They were down 35-3 with 8:53 to go in the 3rd quarter. They ended up winning that game in overtime against the Houston Oilers. The Buffalo Bills were the ones with the win. Here's the next play. Handoff right side, and Robbie Taylor pushes forward for 5 yards. In that game between the Bills and the Oilers, Houston beat Buffalo just the week before, week 17 that was. 23-7 was the slaughter there. And the Bills were looking to have that typical outcome, and then Frank Reich came in and won the game for them. Like we mentioned, still plenty of time here today. If North Putnam can decide to turn it on, they're down 34-0.
Getting another tight formation here.
Single back handoff to the right side. And nothing there as the running back Taylor stopped right at the line of scrimmage. 3rd down and 5 we go from the 35-yard line. This is huge if you're North Putnam. If you can limit them, keep them from picking up the first, they're likely going to punt from this situation. And now you can go to work on offense.
Looked to be number 79, Mason Ray, on that play, making a good shed off of that block to get to Robbie Taylor in the backfield there.
Trip wing, you mentioned here on the near side. Out of bounds with such a big hit. Mitch Miller taken out. He had Corbin Sprunger on him as well as Cam Hankins. 2 guys who've been walloping guys all day so far today. And there, be enough for the 1st down. The Stars, the new set. 1st and 10 from the 42 we go on the nice play to the near side, sent out of bounds. And Taylor heads to the bench. Coming in now for the Stars will be Jake Hendricks. Some confusion as this offense trying to figure out what's going on. 8 seconds to go on the play clock, and the timeout's called by the Stars.
Taylor was looking to run back in there to jump in on that play.
So with that timeout, we'll take a timeout up here as well. Nathaniel and Riley for WBTV Sports, 34-0 the score, and it'll stay that way until we come back.
I don't think of this as a high school weight room. It's more like a high school classroom. I'm learning how to manage my time here. I'm learning that it's important to have goals and that it takes persistence and commitment to reach them. And I'm learning that the best way to lead is by example.
Indiana high school sports. They're more than just a game.
Come and see me play.
We're back here, Nathaniel and Riley for WBTV Sports, 34-0, the score, 8:41 to go in the third. We've got a 1st and 10 forthcoming here. Western Boone on offense. They've had their way up and down the field so far today, and we'll see if that'll continue after the first down pickup on the reception by the man with 2 touchdowns. Only 3 on the year is Mitch Miller. He's lined up at wing at the far side. Man of motion's Baird from under center, looking to throw. He's going to send it out to Marsh, you mentioned, who gets just a few yards. He was looking for Garrity on the slant, the same play that connected for the 70-yard touchdown earlier, but instead Garrity was covered up pretty well, and they had to go to the the swing.
It's a nice hit by number 10, Luke Neese, on that play.
We've seen this defense play pretty physical so far. A lot of good coverage on the back end, and we've seen a lot of big hits as well. They're trying to do their part, but it's hard when this offense has been so unstoppable, and we've seen very little pressure. Here's the run is Marsh, who is tripped up, gets the first down and more, and what could have been a lot more if he wasn't tripped up. A nice play by the defense to just get a hand on him, and he's so quick.
And you saw Marsh's reaction there. He knew that if he didn't get tripped up there, he might have had a chance to take one to the house again and make it.
Yeah, if he was able to put his hand in the dirt, that could have been a much different story. Now 1st and 10 from the 42-yard line of their own. Here's the Stars offense in front of a home crowd from the pistol formation. 3 wide receivers, counting the wing at the far side, takes a snap, hands it off. And Robbie Taylor with some room, barrels forward for 8. 2nd short, coming up next.
And you've noticed a little bit with Western Boone's running, they've tried to keep it to the B to C gap there to try to keep it out of the teeth of the four front defensive linemen of North Putt.
Miller in motion, some movement, and a flag.
Going to be an encroachment.
We'll wait the official call, but sure enough, looked like the defense was at fault there.
Going to be enough for a first down there for Weibo.
Inside the 30 now at the 29-yard line. The Stars in position to implement this running clock if the drive goes as continues. Right now in the third quarter, Tipton is ahead against Eastbrook, 29-12 the score there. Tipton 7-2, Eastbrook 9-1. And Eastbrook, of course, the favorites there, ranked pretty high in the 2A standings.
In motion again.
Maybe a sack. No, he gets out of it. Young takes it, and he's going to try to run for it. Gets positive yardage to the 21-yard line. And what looked to be a sack turns into a nice gain there, and we're within 2nd down and 2 now.
Yeah, we saw number 10, Luke Neese, in there on the tackle. Also saw number 72, Seth Lawrence, in there, chasing him down from the D-line position.
From the pistol formation, 3 wide receivers in the wing. Handoff goes to the right side. And a throw to the left side. And now Mitch Miller with some room. Can he get a third touchdown? The flag's down. He doesn't make it. If it stands, it'll be enough for a first and then into the first and goal territory. But that flag in where all the blocks were taking place.
At first, it looked like it was a run to the right side here by Robbie Taylor, and it looked like to changed up to be a pass on the other side.
Western right now ahead 19-16 over Lebanon. And Triton Central 35, Paoli 6.
Looked to be some kind of penalty there on Weibo. Puts him back at about a 2nd and 4.
From the pistol formation, takes a snap, looking to throw to the left side. Does he complete the pass? It appears he does.
Ooh.
And there Garrett Morton gets his first reception of the game on the slant and a dangerous pass, but he connects.
And it looked like Clifford also had his hands in there on it too, but just couldn't end up with the ball there. Interception would have been a huge drive killer for Weibo in this situation. Good morale boost for North Putt.
Morton with his 3rd catch of the year. Just 17 yards coming into this affair. 1st and 10. Here we go from the 19-yard line. 5.5 and ticking left in the 3rd. Now under center after initially lining up in the pistol. Takes a snap, hands it off, and Robbie Taylor pushes forward for a nice gain. Second and medium coming up here in the red zone is the Stars. Pioneers ahead 28-14 against LaVille. Danville 24, Cardinal Ritter 0. And Tri-West ahead 20-8 over Greencastle. Here's the next catch over to Marsh. Loses yards, turns it around, and he'll end up losing a few, maybe 2 yards. Luke Marsh on the pass. And that might be the first negative yardage play for the Stars on offense. One of a few, if any. 3rd down and 9 coming up here.
Have also seen a couple plays where Robbie Taylor's been stopped maybe just at the line of scrimmage, maybe a little bit behind it.
3rd and 8 from the 17-yard line. The Stars on the far hash mark.
Got trips to the close side here.
Out of the pistol. Here's the quarterback, Young. Looks for his 6th touchdown. Throws it in that area. Mitch Miller drops the pass. And what very well could have been a touchdown. Bounces off his hands.
It's a good defense by number 2, Cam Hankins there.
Hankins has been all over the place on defense so far today. Under 4 minutes to go here. The Stars, 4th down, trying to kick this one. Already missed field goal today for Josiah Smith. He's 2 for 6 on the year. This one will actually be Jake Taylor to kick the field goal. It would be his first. This one kicked up and
looks to be good.
Sure enough, the running clock will be implemented now. The score goes from 34-0 now to 37-0. The clock will only stop after PATs and field goals, like the occurrence that just happened. Will stop on coaches' timeouts and anytime the official has to stop the clock, like for an injury. But first downs will continue to roll, touchdowns will continue to roll, and everything else in between.
That ball bounced just on the right part of the field goal there. Able to bounce it in, and like you said, able to get the running clock here for the rest of the game.
Yeah, one of the lucky times where it hits the upright and goes in. We saw Rice try to kick. I believe it was Rice with the game winner, a field goal last weekend, and it doinked off the left upright, the crossbar, the right upright, the crossbar, and fell out. It was a crazy sequence. Ended up losing the game because of the missed kick. The Stars and Josiah Smith back for this kickoff. Seems like all they've been doing so far today. 37-0 is the score. Back to return the usual, now there's 2 returners that are back farther than the third now. They're going to go into their usual setup with Garcia, Clifford, and Barger. The kick goes deep
kick here
to the 15-yard line, picked up by Clifford. Runs it to the far side with some blocking in front of him. Uses his speed to the 40-yard line, and a nice return there.
It's a great cut by Clifford there to see the opening and get some extra 10, 15 yards on that kick return.
The clock rolls. Here comes this offense for North Putnam. Trying to put some points on the board. Some of their best field positions so far today. Three wide receivers set up to the near side, one to the far side from the pistol formation. Green, the running back, behind the quarterback. Burris takes a snap, looks to throw, rolls to the far side, motioning some people down to block. He'll take this one for a first down and more. Still on his feet, still with some room at the 30-yard line.
Makes a move inside.
And now is brought down by 3 stars. Jake Taylor, and then the big man Tyler Koch in on the tackle.
It's a great play by Burris to move his receivers downfield, take off, and great downfield blocking by his receivers as well for him to get downfield and make about a 30-yard gain there.
We mentioned these teams have only played twice. That's each of the last 2 years, and North Putnam has managed to score a touchdown in each of the games, but no more. We'll see if they can continue that trend today. 2:11 up on the clock in this third quarter.
Got another trip set here to the field.
And the flag flies before the quarterback even gets set.
Illegal substitution.
Seems to be any time that the Cougars have done anything well, then they get that penalty or a unforced mistake. Still first down, so it'll be 1st and 15. Now from the 25-yard line. Trying to score here after the big play on the quarterback run downfield on the far side by the quarterback, Gunnar Burris.
And it's interesting, last week when North Putt played Southmont, it seemed that penalties were the bane of Southmont not being able to score a couple of touchdowns, and now it seems that that's kind of flipped around and the penalties have been the bane of North Putt's drive so far in this game.
Takes a snap, rolls to the near side. He's right-handed and throws this one, guns it to the end zone. It is caught for a touchdown. And one heck of a play by North Putt.
Number 12, Cody Perkins on the catch. It's a great catch.
With the defender draped all over him. Throwing across his body was the quarterback, Gunnar Burris. And the first score of the game for the visiting Cougars, 6-37 the score. Pending this PAT. The kicker, Braden Pauley, the 5'8", 130-pound junior, number 86. Here's the kick. Goes up.
Looks good.
Through the uprights at a point. 37-7 the score. And the Stars have 14.3 seconds to go here in the third.
And indeed, like you said, North Putt continues the trend of scoring at least one time in the 2 times that they've met.
We'll take a break here and be back shortly on WBTV Sports.
Thank you for tuning in and supporting WBTV Sports and Western Boone Athletics. This broadcast is made possible by the support of Western Boone, North Montgomery, Crawfordsville, and Southmont schools. This is a student-run production that works very hard to provide viewers like you with a professional broadcast. This live broadcast is a great way to prepare us, your future broadcasters, with real-world experience. Thank you for your support.
Hello and welcome back here to Witham Health Field. The Stars ahead 37-7 against the North Putnam Cougars, who just scored the touchdown of 25 yards when what ended up being a nice catch by Cody Perkins in the near side of the end zone, standing on the Star.
And I think this is the first time tonight that we've seen North Putt's kickoff team take the field.
Here's the kick. The second of the game goes to the around the 20-yard line. Will be returned. Now cutting it upfield, coming to the near side, making some moves. Ethan Bales, and is finally brought down at the 34-yard line. The sophomore Ethan Bales with a nice return there. He does, I believe that's his first return of the year. And looking out here, we've got the backups coming in for Western Boone, highlighted by quarterback Rowan Durbin. A lot of talent so far. He's still a young quarterback. We'll see what he can do. After this, the third quarter ends on WBTV Sports. We'll be back shortly.
Are you a fan of exciting action, great sporting atmosphere, and good displays of sportsmanship?
I am definitely a fan.
High school sports, pure spirit, pure sport, pure entertainment value. Are you a fan of amazing spirit, incredible drama, and affordable ticket prices?
I'm definitely a fan.
High school sports, pure spirit, pure sport, pure entertainment value.
We're back here at WBTV Sports. Nathaniel and Riley with just the last quarter to go here. 37-7 is the score. The Stars on offense with the JV squad.
Yeah, we've noticed some of the second and third string guys coming in to finish off this game here.
Mason Tomes with the handoff and some room to the far side. Gained 7 or 8 yards. It's a nice way to start the game for him. The clock continues to roll now, 37-7 the score. We mentioned Danville's ahead 24-0 against Cardinal Ritter, and Tipton with a big lead over Eastbrook as well will continue to provide scores as this game progresses.
Get another tight set here.
It'll be a handoff to the near side. Tomes with some room, gets a couple yards, and it'll be enough for a first. On second and short, converts to 1st and 10 at the 45-yard line of their own. Western Boone's offense picks up their first down with this JV squad. The Stars, we mentioned 12 straight winning seasons. They've won the Sagamore Conference 9 times. They've won this 2A sectional 9 times, regional 6 times, 4 semi-state titles, and those 3 state championships coming in 88, 18, and 2019. Looking to toss
Triple
out to the far
here.
side and being brought out after a couple yard gain was John Harlows for Western Boone.
We got some Sagamore All-Conference stats for you. Obviously, Robbie Taylor's in second place with 1,099 rushing yards on the year coming into this game. Obviously, he's added to that total. And if we take to tackles on defense, 2nd, 5th, and 7th covered by Luke Marsh with 139, Cannon Bruins with 98, and Trevor Weekly with 83. Same with scoring here. In 4th place, Robbie Taylor with 66 points. And in 6th place, Connor Garrity with 48, and that's a pretty solid squad there to cover the conference stats and represent the Western Boone team pretty well.
Interesting enough, you mentioned the Stars are representing 2nd place in rushing yards, 2nd place in tackles. Both of those 1st place margins held by a Frankfurt player. Don't see that too often. Here's the next play. A handoff goes to the inside, and Tomes is brought down for a loss of 1. 3rd down and about 5 coming up here next, right at midfield.
You mentioned the 2 Frankfurt players. I believe it's Riley Goodnight with the rush, holding the lead for the rush yards, and Gabe Chavez, I believe, of Frankfurt for the tackles.
Just under 9 minutes to go here in this game. Up by 30 is the Stars. They're on offense. Durbin from under center. The running back, Tomes. It'll be a handoff to the right side and stopped for a very minimal gain. Not Tomes, but Carter Markham, the freshman. And we'll see 4th down and medium here from midfield. 4th and 4, they'll call it.
Once again, that clock continues to run with just under 8:30 to go in this 4th quarter of play.
Stars are going to go for it. No need to punt in this situation. From the 49 of their opponent, the Cougars, here's the next play. Man in motion's the wing is Bales. Bales has to retreat back to his original position. 10 seconds left on the play clock. Taking the snap, looking to throw. Durbin throws this one and short of the first down stick.
Just short.
Caught, but 2 yards short. The pass was a little low by Durbin. Seemed a little antsy in the pocket. Nothing wrong with that being his first action in a while. Of course, his first touch of the year, Rowan Durbin, handed off to Robbie Taylor for about a 60-yard touchdown. He's got 1 passing attempt, now 2 passing attempts, and he's missed both of them. Well, 50% on the year after he got that, but was not able to convert the first down.
Got North Putz offense coming back on the field here.
Heavy formation, under center's the quarterback, hands it off. Gunnar Burris hands it off for a nice push there.
Looked to be only about a 5-yard game, but he pushed forward for about a 9 to 10.
Robert Green with a nice carry. This North Putnam team, they graduated 2 All-State players from a year ago, Aiden Baker and Maverick Summers. The Stars are the same case with double the amount of All-State players. Spencer Wright, Connor Hull, Casey Foster, and Brett Weathington, the 4 All-State players for them. They also have 3 coaches on their staff that have been All-State players for this team. Coach Gadberry, 97-98, Coach Nathaniel Bai in 2015, and then Coach Devin Weekly in 2018 were all players for the Stars team who made the All-State team. Here's the pitch out to the near side, and Kevin Barger will be sent out of bounds. Might have got back to the original line of scrimmage. Second short upcoming.
Going to be facing another 3rd down here for North Putz offense. North Putt coming back in here looking to be in about a base formation.
Handoff, gets the first down and more. Robert Green with a spin. Pushes forward to the 38-yard line of the Stars. Looking to score on their 2nd consecutive drive. Doing so if it does occur that they get back in the end zone against this 2nd team defense.
The clock obviously not on their side here as it continues to run down, just nearing 5 minutes to go in the 4th quarter.
Running back and 2 wing backs split. A couple yards off the line of scrimmage. Will be a reverse to the far side. Colton Clifford cuts it back upfield, 7, 8, now 9 yards. Gets the first down pending this flag, which was sent a few yards past the line of scrimmage.
It might be on North Putt.
Yeah, sure enough, the holding call will be 10 yards from the spot.
We've seen that kind of be a reoccurring theme throughout this whole game. North Putt makes a couple of good plays, makes a big play, and ultimately it gets called back because of a flag. It's going to put him back at about the 44-yard line of Western Boone.
The Stars' playoff winning streak. Active will advance to 14 games. The next team is New Palestine.
Got a
playing
Wildcat.
tonight. And it works pretty well. Cutting up fields Barger at the 30, now the 20-yard line. And
Makes
hops
another
up.
man miss.
Yeah, tiptoes inbounds at about the 14-yard line.
Obviously, the second time attempting that Wildcat formation works out a lot better for him this time than it did previously.
Yeah, the first time was a botched snap and a loss of yards. That time they pick up quite a few more yards, you could say.
Puts him in a good position here to score again. If you're on North Putt, especially if you're a senior, taking this all in, got to play with all your heart and soul in these last few minutes of play here. Looks to be another Wildcat again. This time they're pitching it out to Burris.
Yeah, Burris will hold it himself, gets the first down, cuts into the end zone at the
Looks
corner.
to be a touchdown. It is.
And they sure will. A touchdown called by North Putnam. They've now scored as many times as the last 2 years combined against this Stars team. 37-13 is the score pending the extra point. As we've dropped below 3 minutes to go in the game. A nice job there by the junior quarterback to get the touchdown on the ground. Here's the PAT. The kick is up and through the uprights. The score advances 37-14. We'll be back here shortly on WBTV Sports.
I don't think of this as a high school weight room. It's more like a high school classroom. I'm learning how to manage my time here. I'm learning that it's important to have goals and that it takes persistence and commitment to reach them. And I'm learning that the best way to lead is by example.
Indiana High School Sports. They're more than just a game.
Come and see me play.
That one.
We're back here at Western Boone High School in a scoring update before the kickoff by North Putnam, scoring their second touchdown of the game. Tipton is ahead against Eastbrook, 36-24. The score over there. That's in the third quarter. We'll await this kick. 2:15 to go up on the clock in the fourth quarter, ready to end this game. It's the Stars on offense.
And that last touchdown that North Putt scored was every much of a pride play as anything else. Making the most of what you can get right now.
Here's the kick. Goes pretty far around the 15-yard line. And now the Stars are going to take this one with Ethan Bales cutting up the middle of the field. He gets it to the 42-yard line. Surpasses his last field position by about 4 yards. Ethan Bales with a couple nice returns. Seeger ahead 22-3 against Cascade. That's who the Stars will play next week. They'll have to travel to Seeger for the sectional championship of sectional 37 here in the 2A class. The winner of that sectional will play the winner of Heritage Christian and their opponent. We mentioned they got to move to that sectional championship of sectional 38 because of a forfeit by Northeastern.
And with the running clock here and with Weibo ahead by 5 or 6 touchdowns here, you would think they'd run a couple plays or take a couple knees here to end the game. Victory formation.
They just need to watch the play clock is the only thing that matters for the Stars, and they'll be able to end this game pretty quickly. The Stars will advance to their fourth straight sectional championship, winning the last 3. It'll likely be against Seeger, as we mentioned. A bit of a road trip for the Stars after North Putnam traveled all this way to Western Boone High School. 10 seconds left on the play clock. The knee coming within that time.
And this is probably going to be that last play. Yep. And that'll do it.
The Stars will win the game 37-14, the final score. We'll be back for some finishing analysis and some game stats after this on WBTV Sports.
Meet Tommy. Tommy's not sure which sport he will play in high school someday. But no matter what he ends up choosing, playing sports in high school will help pave the way to a happier, healthier life. All Tommy needs to do is make up his mind. High school sports. Pure spirit, pure sport. Pure launching pad for life.
Nathaniel Finch back here with Riley Woodall and some final stats here. You see the score in front of you. And as far as first downs go, both these teams with about the same amount, Western Boone 19 to North Putnam 17. So as far as rushing yards go, the Stars with 35 carries, 166 yards, 21 for 127, the rushing numbers for the Cougars. Pass yards is 200 for the Stars, only 47 for North Put on 5 of 18. Western Boone and Elliott Young 11 for 16 passing. No interceptions from either team today. The one that was caught was by Casey Baird, but it was called back on a couple offsetting penalties. Total yardage, Western Boone 356 and North Putnam with 167. That's really what's been the difference. Both teams picked up about the same amount of first downs, but the Stars with way more chunk plays. North Putnam did have the one turnover, the fumble that was recovered by Casey Baird. We'll look at some individual stats here as Elliott Young, 10 of 14, 188 yards. Rowan Durbin, 1 for 1 for 2 yards passing. Gunnar Burres for North Putnam, 5 for 18 through the air and 40 yards. He also had 9 rushes for 109 yards and that touchdown. As far as Western Boone's rushing, 17 rushes from Robbie Taylor, 103 yards as he goes over that 100-yard mark again this year. He does it so often. Luke Marsh, 5 carries for 43 yards. And that'll do it for our game stats here. You see the score. It's 37, Western Boone, North Putnam 14. That will end the game and also mark the end of the season for the North Putnam Cougars. They'll finish this 2020 season with a record of 2-9. Best of luck to the 6 seniors who the Cougars will graduate. Next Friday, the Stars will travel to Seeger or Cascade. It's likely going to be Seeger for the sectional 37 championship for the 4th year in a row. That game will be broadcasted by WBTV Sports right here on the IHSAA Champions Network. Big thank you to Heath Shanahan and the Indiana High School Athletic Association, IHSAA TV. Jeremy Dexter and the Western Boone Athletic Department, as well as our numerous sponsors this year. Thank you to Technical Director Austin Smothers, videographers Grant Prickett, Jacob Stump, audio technicians Gage Griffith and Sydney Highsong, drone pilot Nick Ebal, Director Allison Gard, and final score provider Andy Hoskins for Riley Woodall and all of WBTV Sports. I'm Nathaniel Finch. Final score, Western Boone 37, North Putnam 14. Enjoy your Halloween weekend.